Ahí se ve.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, board members. First order of business will ask to rise in the flag. To the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Secretary, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Ahmed,
Here.
Mr. Arce, Mr. Chu,
Here.
Mrs. Jones,
Present.
Mrs. Lanny,
Here.
Mrs. Librera,
Here.
Mr. Mazzone,
Here.
Mr. Racine,
Here.
and Mr. McLean.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Regular meetings of the Rutherford Board of Education will be broadcast without editing during a 2-hour segment as limited by Comcast time constraints on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. and on Comcast Public Access Channel and on FiOS Channel 38. More? Is it up? Now? Anybody want me to repeat that whole thing?
We're good. We're good.
So on FiOS Channel 38. A video of the meeting can be viewed on our website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. Any member of the public who wishes to view a DVD of the meeting can make a request in writing to the board secretary. In the packets were the minutes from the regular meeting of March 21st and the executive session, likewise of March 21st. Are there any corrections or comments regarding those minutes? Hearing none, we will ask the secretary to enter them into the record as they are. We have a pretty full room and a pretty full agenda this evening, so we'll try to move along with that. We have a number of special presentations to start the meeting, and we're going to make one change of an item on the agenda, which I'll explain in a minute. We'll allow our student representative to make his report early because this time of year there's lots of tests to study for and that sort of thing. But hold on just one second, Sean. We're going to first recognize the first special presentation is recognition of a retired board member, Gary Novoselsky, and perhaps yes.
Mr. Novoselsky, Mr. Gary Novoselsky, fixture on the Board of Education for many, many years. He was elected as a trustee in 1999. Served on the board since that time until he retired from the board or resigned from the board. I'm not sure. What term do you prefer, Gary? Left the board. He left the board in December of 2015 because he reached that promised land of retirement, and he and his wife moved out of the state and out of the borough. And once that happens, you obviously cannot serve on the board. During his time on the Board of Education, he was a member, of course, of many different committees, but he served as vice president of the board from 2007 to 2010, and he served as the board president from 2013 until this past December of 2015, when he retired and moved on out of the area. Mr. Novoselsky was here through many of the significant events that have happened in the district. When we had our referendum, a successful referendum. Well, he was here for the first referendum that wasn't as successful, but the second one that led to the additions to all of our buildings. He was here during the discussions in the past year about the realignment of schools, and he's always been a person who has kept the interest of the district and the students in the forefront. He had a career change in his own personal life, where he went into education and spent probably the second half of the career, and I think he might agree the better half of his career in the education world. So Mr. Novoselsky, a true gentleman. I knew him as a teacher who had his sons in the schools. I knew him as a dad. I knew him as a board member, and I've had the privilege in the last few years to work alongside him as superintendent when he served as president. So on behalf of the community, on behalf of the board, we are honoring you with a token of our appreciation, but to know that the community appreciates the work that the board members do. It's a volunteer job. They give up a lot of time, a lot of effort to help make sure the schools are run efficiently and in the best interest of the community. So Gary, congratulations and Godspeed and best wishes in your retirement.
That's right. Thank you very much, and I thank you for inviting me back to do this. It has been my privilege to serve with almost all of you. Congratulations on your appointment, and it's really been my honor to serve with you. And I want to say that I've been around the state, and first of all, thank you for so many people. I didn't know I had this many friends. I've seen other boards of education in action, and I hope that the people in Rutherford realize what a great group this is. Your commitment to being a deliberative body, your avoidance of petty squabbles, it really should serve as an example for boards all over the state and in my newly adopted state of Pennsylvania as well. So I thank you. The politics here has always been kept to a minimum. I love politics, so it's not that I don't like politics, but it can get in the way, as we've seen in the latest presidential elections. I had this thought the other day. I knew I was coming here, and somebody on TV said, "Oh, some of these campaigns have turned into schoolyard bullying," and I said, "No, that wouldn't. None of that behavior would be allowed in a schoolyard in Rutherford. An adult would step in and put a stop to it right away." So I know that I leave the schools of the town in great, good hands, and congratulations and best wishes to all of you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I'm not sure if any other board members will want to just say a couple of words, but Mr. Hurley read, kind of the biography, the number of years here, different positions, that sort of thing. And as Mr. Hurley said, this is a volunteer position. Truly no beneficial aspect to it other than knowing that you're involved with an endeavor which is so important to our community and to our children. Gary exemplified that because not only was he a volunteer for those many years, he would go for schooling on being a better board member. And I believe you achieved a master board member status, which is training, recognition of understanding not only the responsibilities but the process. Gary was always calm-mannered, even-tempered, and was well-versed on whatever the topic was that he was going to speak. So certainly a good example for us all. I don't know if there are any members at the table. Mrs. Jones?
I've been on the board with Gary since 2005, and the one thing that I always appreciated was his whole knowledge of the Sunshine Law and how he would keep us legal and honest, at times when we could have gone off. And so that you are sorely missed. We really appreciate that.
Sally?
I came on the board when Gary was president, and he was an excellent role model and really helped me figure out the role of the board member. And I think what is most impressive about Gary is that he always speaks his mind in a respectful, calm, measured, and well-informed way. So, thank you.
So, thank you again, sir. Much appreciated. Thank you. And so now I would like to just change up the agenda a little bit and ask our student representative, Mr. Sullivan, to make his report so that you can, at your earliest convenience, slide out.
Thank you. Since the last time we've met, which was only a brief while ago, quite a few interesting things have happened in the past month. For instance, we just had junior formal, and even though it's a junior classman event, it seems every year more and more other classmen are getting invited, specifically seniors, and I think that's a trend that'll continue on, especially into prom, which is just right around the corner, as well as graduation and project graduation. So we're almost there. School year is almost over, but that's without saying that there's still a whole lot of work to be done. We have park testing coming up, and I was in one of the classes that was almost sort of the guinea pig for the computers and the computer systems working well. So that's something to look forward to, and after that it's finals from there on out, and it was a good year, and I'm happy to have served here on the board with you, and I'm looking forward to serving out my time.
Thank you. So we will return to the agenda then, and our second, just a real quick show of hands. How many folks in the room are here specifically regarding the before school, after school child care program? Okay, not all, but so I just want to kind of, no, I want to explain what we'll be doing so that people, are just aware. So we have a second special, thank you, a second special presentation this evening, which is, will be conducted by Mr. Potter for Lincoln School Physical Education. It involves the board leaving the room and going to the 100 gym. Anyone who cares to come and watch the demonstration is invited to do so. We need to proceed in an orderly manner down to the gym. We will be gone approximately
10 to 15 minutes.
10 or 15 minutes, and then we will come back. And then the order of business will be that we will hear presentations from two proposed providers of before school, after school programs, and we're going to then switch up the order of the agenda a little bit again. We will delay, please don't take this too badly, we will delay the report of the superintendent and the president of the board, and we will move to the portion of the meeting where the meeting will be open to the public for comment. And just to get another kind of show of hands, how many people would like to address a comment to the board this evening? Just general show of hands. Looks like, yeah, I see. Okay, I see you. So, so it looks like maybe 10 or 12 people. So we'll, during this next presentation and such, if you can bear this in mind, we want to keep the total to maybe 30, 45 minutes max. So we'll probably be asking people to try to limit your comments to about 3 minutes. Okay, and it's a comment period. where the board listens to comments, but it's not really a question and answer period. The board may ask some questions to clarify a point. We may not have all the answers if we're asked questions, that sort of thing. Yeah. So, okay.
Okay, so we'll go to the, anybody who wants to. There, I was down in the gym. There is a large crowd, almost as large as this crowd, in the bleachers. Parents who are here to see the children who are going to demonstrate. You're all welcome to come down, but if you're also welcome to stay if that's your wish as well, because there is a large crowd down there. Mr. Novoselsky is right. He is a hit. He's drawn a big crowd in both venues.
It overflows the building. So with no objections, we will adjourn momentarily down to the one under Jim.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Coder. I'm the phys ed teacher at Lincoln School, and I welcome you. I was graciously volunteered by the higher-ups to do a demonstration of our physical education program at Lincoln School. And one of the games we're playing right now is called Omni-Kickball. And I was able at a national convention to see this game displayed and played, and the graciousness of the REF grant that I was able to get last year allowed me to purchase 2 of these Omni-Kickballs. And the idea of the game is there are 3 teams right now, and one team, like right now, Blue is teeing it up, and they're going to hit it. Call out a different color. We call it green out. Green is trying to catch it as a team and get there before it hits the ground. Moving away from the wall. There's a tremendous amount of things that are involved in this activity. Communication, teamwork, the ability to share, and the ability to work as one. You can't play this game by yourself to be successful. So you have to rely on 3 or 4 other people to be teammates. And I want them to start understanding that they need help along the way. Call it out. Green has to get to it. Blue gets out of the way. Now, in case you're wondering how we keep score, if a team color is called and they don't get to the ball before it hits the ground, then the team hitting it gets a point. Do I worry about which team wins and loses? No. Okay, that's not important to me. And it's not important to them. What's important to them is the ability to cooperate with one another, the ability to work together. That would be a point for Blue. And they get a great workout out of this. In a 30-minute period, they will be exhausted, and they're not even knowing that they got exhausted. That's the best part. And this is just one of the things that we've incorporated into the phys ed curriculum. Not only at my school, but other schools have tried it. My good friend John Randazzo does a great job at Washington School. And between both of us, we feel we give the elementary students at Lincoln and Washington a tremendous physical education program at the younger levels. And this is just one game that we use and we incorporated this year into the program. I try to get one new activity or game every single year. And I've been doing it a few years, so after a while I've been able to get a lot of different games into the curriculum. And it forces me to stay re-energized because I'm doing something new every year that I look forward to doing. So, you're probably wondering how many people get hurt. They don't. They don't get hurt. Okay? Because they bounce off the floor, bounce right back up, and they don't feel it. So, they just continue going, and it's a great activity. I use the Omni-Kickball not only for this game, but for other games that I've created this year, and so we get multiple uses out of the Omni-Kickball itself. Blue is called, Blue gets to it, green get out of the way. Hey, let's give them a round of applause. They're great students. They do a great job at Omni-Kickball. Lincoln School. We try to start it as first graders and second graders. And I refer to it as Scooter Scrabble. And we've all played Scrabble through the years. Well, this is just a different version. Matthew, Vita, Jules, Loudon, and Greg, come on over and grab a scooter, please. Again, I was able to purchase new scooters this past school year through the benefit of the PTA at Lincoln School. So I'm able to get new equipment and devise new games with the equipment that we have at Lincoln School. Now, this game, Scooter Scrabble, it's designed for them to incorporate other avenues of learning in the physical education program. Cross-content learning, tremendous thing that is happening, not only in Rutherford, but all over the country. And I must say, I've been doing cross-content learning for a long time. Being able to have the students learn in different ways, whether it's letters, whether it's numbers, whether it's spelling, whether it's addition and subtraction, through the years. And something that they don't even know they're doing because they're having so much fun doing it, and they're learning different things about it. So this is Scooter Scrabble, and the way it's set up, they will scoot around to me, and I have a deck of cards out here with all different letters on it. They'll get letters, they bring them back, they'll switch spots, and then the next person will come out. And they keep accumulating letters as we go through this. And people that are waiting are starting to make words, hopefully good words, that they're starting to spell. And I like to say they feed words off of words that they make. And sometimes I'll put out a list, and I'll get the spelling words from the teachers, and I'll put that list out there. So it gives them a guideline on what letters they can use and what words they can use, and it helps them spell a little bit better. And I've also added a few more vowels into the deck, so it makes it a little bit easier. And again, it forces them to work together. 2 and 3 people have to communicate and display their ideas one by one. And one may like to spell this word, somebody's going to like to spell a different word over here. Well, they have to make a decision. Because the idea is to try to use as many letters as possible. So we'll get this started. We'll take a few minutes. And what I normally do is, and I won't go through this whole deck of letters, but in a class I will. I'll give out these letters, and then I'll walk around and I'll watch them as they spell words and give them hints. You may want to move that T over here. And hopefully, my spelling is pretty good because of my English teacher that I had in high school. Okay? So
Imagine that. I think it was my student.
Mr. Hurley was 21.
And people say to me, oh man, you must be old.
He was the Doogie Howser of teachers when I had him.
And I'm one of the few people in the room who remember who Doogie Howser was.
So, are we ready? Yeah. All right, ready? Game on. Hurry. And some are very polite. They'll say please and thank you. It's a great day. As you see their I like that. Good. Go. Four letters together. We're trying to get the stuff. Here we go. All right. Start spelling the words. If you haven't already, build all your words. Build all your words. Try to spell as many capital letters you have. As you can see, they're working together here. Trying to get as many words spelled as possible. Some are leaders, some are followers. 3 words. Jeff, and there's more to this. I would ask them how many words they spell. So now besides the spelling end of it, now we add the counting end of it. How many words did they spell? They would have to tell me. Then I asked them to put letters that they're not using outside the hoop. And then we continue on and they can do an exchange program where they can scoot it to another hoop. Take a letter that another group doesn't need, maybe they know what they need. Leave one, take one. So they can spell more words on it. So, as simple as this looks, there's a lot of hidden educational value in this. And once again, they're thinking, all right? And they're getting a physical workout and a brain workout at the same time. So, this is just, I think, the tip of the iceberg of things that I do at Lincoln School in the educational end of phys ed. And I'm going to ask you, how many words did you guys have? 3. How many? 2. How many? 2. How many? 6. How many? 2. Tremendous job. And I want to thank Mr. Lesko for giving me the opportunity to come here and present. So thank you. I want to thank our 3rd grade students that did a great job. Give them a round of applause. And again, the Board of Ed members, I thank you for coming down and checking us out. And I appreciate your interest in the phys education program we have here at Rutherford.
Okay, so we'll bring the meeting back to order, please, and just some brief comments about the demonstration we just saw. I think Obviously, the children are always impressive, but we have to remember that this started with a staff member who had an idea for a program, put together a grant proposal, which the REF generously funded in order to get the equipment that the children were enjoying so much. And at least, I don't know about you, I know they were only third graders, but I was very impressed that there were 14 sets of hands with no thumbs going. Yeah, they were engaged in physical activity, which is just fantastic. That's great. So we will now go to our third special presentation for the evening, and we have two proposed providers of before and after care programs, the YMCA and Family Balance Concepts Organization. So we're going to ask them to give their presentations. I set the mic kind of off to the side. Technically, the presentations are being given to the board. We haven't seen any presentations from either group before, but I think with so many people here, we want to make sure that the people in in attendance can also hear the presentation, see the presenter, and that sort of thing. So we'll ask the presenters to stand kind of on the side and direct to the best you can to both groups, the board and to the folks in attendance, please. I understand one of the groups, I'm not sure which, has PowerPoint presentation support, so I guess we have that. And the other will be speaking without a presentation. So we would ask the representative or representatives, I'm not sure which, from the YMCA to come up and present, please. Yeah. They're having a presentation? Okay. So I'm going to move out of the way so that the...
I'm facing this way and that way. Okay. And I'm tall, so... Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Great, great. I'm Jane Egan. I'm the president and CEO of the Meadowlands Area YMCA. And I want to first start by thanking the board for the partnerships that we've had over the many decades. I've been with the Y for 35 years, and it's been a pleasure to work with the Board of Education to be able to run so many different things to help strengthen the Rutherford community, and I thank you for that to start off with. Tonight we're here to talk about our selection of school-age child care provider. This is an important decision that can have impact on the district, but more importantly on the children and their families. To operate a safe, caring, fun, educational, and enriching school-age child care program, there are hundreds of details that need to be addressed. I am sure that after hearing our proposal, that you will conclude that the YMCA is the best choice due to our depth, our resources, our experience, and our proven ability to deliver. With me tonight, I have several staff members. I have Sean Phillips, who is our YMCA program director, and he's in charge of our school-age child care program. Sean has over 20 years of experience in after-school program management. He holds a master's degree in the arts of teaching, as well as certificates from YMCA of the USA in organizational leadership, budget management, and program development. Also with us tonight, doing the PowerPoint for us, is Candace Pickering. She has over 10 years experience in the field and holds a Bachelor of Arts degree. She has worked for the largest Y in New Jersey, the Metro Y of the Oranges, and she's also worked for the New York City YMCA, which is the largest in the nation. She has YUSA certifications in leadership, volunteerism, finance, school-age child care programming, to name a few. Also with me tonight is Joe Min, who has 27 years experience in the YMCA movement. Joe holds the position of Chief Operating Officer for us, and he sits in the front row here. He has a BS in Aerospace Engineering, and he's a graduate of the New York City YMCA Executive Leadership Institute. Just wanted to give you a brief background of some of the people that are here with us this evening, and now I'm going to turn the microphone over to Sean, and he'll give you an idea of our program and more about our proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you again to the board for being able to present. Am I coming through loud and clear? Okay. I'm here to talk a little bit about the YMCA proposal to continue running the before and after school care for the Rutherford School District. As we talk about the YMCA before and after care program, I think it's important to talk about the YMCA as a whole. Many people do not realize it, but the YMCA is both a national and an international association. Our brand and our logo is as recognizable as sometimes Coca-Cola and the Red Cross. So we are a national organization that has local chapters, chapters that work in the communities, all in the goal of strengthening the communities that we're in. That's our overall goal as a nonprofit. And we work in the focus areas of youth development, or developing youth and teens to their full potential, healthy living, working for the well-being of ourselves and our neighbors, and social responsibility, making sure that people in our neighborhoods have what they need in order to thrive and survive. You can see locally, the YMCA of the Meadowlands are experienced child care providers. We are currently running 14 after-school programs, and we partner with just a few of these sites here in Bergen and Passaic County. You can see on any given day, we'll have 700 children in our care, and we've been doing this for 20 years as a Y. We're a professional organization staffed by professional people. As Jane mentioned, we have a wide variety of educational backgrounds, and we have a depth of program professionals that are able to provide some bench strength for us. The sad fact is that I can walk out of here and get hit by a bus. Your children will still be okay at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. The Y will keep going. You can see that the Meadowlands Area YMCA are experts in childcare. When a family joins the YMCA, they not only join our SAC program, but they also get access to our swimming lessons, which happen right over there, family programs, and we also run community events, including the Fall Family Festival, designed to revitalize the west end of town. You may have heard in the news, I get this a lot when I go out and people see my name tag, is that we are going to start a full facility YMCA in East Rutherford to continue to develop the health of our community. So we are an organization that's been here for 90 years and is not going anywhere. We're here to stay. We receive support and backing from the YMCA of the USA. Many people do not realize this, but YMCAs collectively are the largest provider of childcare in the country. And you can see just some of the YMCA initiatives that are being spearheaded by national, including STEM programs to bring science to after-school programs, HEPA, which is a partnership with Let's Move about healthy eating and physical activities, and then also summer reading learning loss prevention. As you know, the studies are showing that children will lose up to a grade level of learning over the summer, and so the Y works in all those areas. And again, been doing this for a long time. Ys are designed to address the needs of the community, and in the early 80s, we found that parents were going back to work. Either both parents were working or there were single parents working, and that's when the YMCA developed their child care program. And these are just a few examples of when the Y does an aftercare, before care, early child care program. They're not about babysitting. They're about enriching the lives, and they're about continually evolving their program to get better and better, whether it's through parent feedback, as we do in surveys or emails and things like that, or national initiatives that come working with partners like Walmart, Robert Wood Johnson, the Centers for Disease Control. So when we're providing a program, it's a holistic program designed to enrich the lives of the children and the families that they're in. Okay, moving along. Oh, one back. Thank you. Okay, at a state level, there are approximately 40 YMCAs in the state of New Jersey, and we work at a state alliance, at a state level, in order to address state issues. All of our Ys in the state of New Jersey participate in what's called a Healthy You program, which was funded from a grant through the Horizon Foundation, which is a way to combat the ever-increasing childhood obesity epidemic that we were facing. Through Horizon Foundation and working at a state level, we were able to leverage resources to provide training and then ongoing training, as well as supplies to do what's called the Kids Catch program, which is a proven scientific-based program that reduces childhood obesity. We collect data, we turn that over now to Montclair University, and they've shown that kids who are participating in the program have better attitudes about healthy food, better attitudes about drinking water, better attitudes about working out. And that's all through 30 minutes of moderate to vigorous movement and non-elimination games. So It's just one way, again, another example of how the Y leverages their resources to give to the local communities and make sure that they have what they need. Another resource that we have that no one else can match is actually our insurance company. We work with an insurance company called Redwoods Insurance. The Y currently right now carries $10 million worth of insurance, and that covers general liability and workman's comp. But the other thing that working with Redwoods is an exclusive insurance company. It only works with child care providers like YMCAs and JCCs. And what they're able to do is they take data from across the nation in the aggregate and are able to spot trends and then warn the YMCA about trends that are coming. So for instance, a couple years ago, these tables that are put up, there was a trend of them tipping and falling and injuring and at times killing children. And we were able to, through Redwoods, through our insurance company, get instant updates on that. So we were able to adjust our policies so that tragedies that occurred in other towns and communities would not happen here. And again, they only serve Ys and JCCs. The other really great thing is they provide training, both online about playground safety, supervision, anti-bullying or bullying prevention, that our staff can take, or will take, or have taken. They also in the summer do 1-minute trainings where they'll send out a 1-minute video to all of our staff's smartphones or email addresses to remind them, to keep them on pace, to make sure that they don't get as complacent as they might be. So again, it's a resource that we have that no one else has. Next. A little bit of a commercial here for the Meadowlands Area YMCA. Again, with our resources, we've been selected by the Department of Childhood and our Child and Youth Services to provide a family success center. It was originally to help serve families that were affected adversely by Superstorm Sandy, and we've since expanded it out to serve all families in the Meadowlands area. It provides parenting skills, some on-site childcare. They just started some ESL classes, and that was through grant funding through the Department of Children and Services. Also, through another grant through the Department of Education, we run what's called a 21st Century Learning Center with Moonachie Schools, and that is to provide some STEM-rich after-school and some STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, resources to the children in those schools. So these are competitive grants, and you don't get selected, and you certainly don't get a grant unless you have the proven track record to provide those services like we do. Amongst our other local, we have local partnerships. You can see the school systems, the communities, the Red Cross, who we use to train our staff in CPR and first aid, senior centers, who we work again at healthy living and wellness. That's the 10-minute mark? Okay. 2 minutes? Okay. I'm getting gonged off the stage. Next one. Next, back one. Back. Okay. The YMCA is a 501c3 charity, which is actually the highest level of nonprofit that you can get as recognized by the IRS in the state of New Jersey, which we're incorporated by. I go out to sites and I'll talk to the kids and they try to figure out who I am. They say, are you Miss Diana's boss? Who are you? And one child asked me, do you own the Y? And I turned around and I said, no, you own the Y. The Y is owned by the community and run by a volunteer board of directors. We have a 20-person board who actively guides the Y to serve the community. They also actively fundraise. Last year we fundraised over $300,000, which we give away in direct programming fees. So when the Y gives back to the community, we give back directly to the actual children who need it. Okay, there you go. With our board, we also have executive leadership of our CEO, our CFO, our COO, 13 full-time directors. We have a grant writer on staff to help secure our funding and make sure we're still able to offer innovative programming. This is a slide about Candace and I, again, two dedicated directors right to the program. You heard our bios in the beginning from Jane. And then our on-site staff actually is vetted pretty thoroughly. We do a selection process. We do criminal background checks. We actually work both with the state of New Jersey for them and then our payroll company for an additional layer of criminal background check. Our staff are trained in a variety of things, including CPR and first aid, child safety. We invest a lot of time and treasure training our staff. They are important to us, as I'm sure they're important to you guys as the parents of children in the program. They are definitely a value and an asset to us that we will be keeping. SAC structure and format. Our SAC programs provide a variety of age-appropriate children's plan activities, including language, curiosity, self-esteem, are all incorporated into what we do. Ms. Candace. You can see our daily schedule of activities includes directed play, as well as some organized play, homework help, and then Healthy You and Catch. We're flexible, and again, the Ys are designed to accommodate the needs of their community so they can serve their communities. Next one, okay. And the Y, again, like I said, the Y is not a company that serves one person. The Y is constantly evolving, a community organization with the mission to strengthen our community. And we've always been willing to work with individual school districts to not only meet the needs of their students, but their growing financial concerns as well. We've been willing to accommodate any requests for facility usage related to expenses, and are more than willing to match any competitor's reasonable offering. Historically, when Rutherford is asked whether it's been for a nurse for the wraparound program, we've provided that, whether it's for a wraparound program for the summer program that you run, or even if it's just to move to the library when the rec department needs to come in and use the basketball courts. We've been trying to be a good, flexible partner to you in the past. So again, the why, we have a depth of infrastructure, resources, and experience that really just can't be matched by any other organization, whether you're talking about a national level, a state level, or a local level. I want to thank you so much for your time. Candace is going to hand out to the board our rate sheet for the upcoming year. Our rates will stay the same as they have for 2015 and 16. And then I'm available for questions or however you want to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the format will be that I would ask the board. So again, the general format is we listen to a presentation. The board will be acting not at this meeting, but at a subsequent meeting. But we want to solicit as much information, that we can take into consideration as possible. So I would ask if there's any member of the board that has questions specific to the presentation for purpose of clarifying something regarding the presentation or the before school, after school program. Thank you. Yes, Mrs. LaGura.
Thanks for the presentation. Can you talk a little bit about how you evaluate the effectiveness of the programs that you run across the schools and how you identify opportunities for improvement?
Sure. On an annual basis, we actually just put out our 1-minute survey that we send to the parents. It was a quick survey that they could fill out. It had about 8 questions, but then also a question for comment. And then they were able to slip it right into a box right there. So it was pretty low maintenance for them. We collected those. They have come by, they've come back very positive. Parents are actually enjoying the program. You can see I put some parent quotes on there. A couple of those were solicited from the actual surveys. The other thing we do, is that every couple of years we work with an outside company called SEER, S-E-E-R, and please don't ask me what it stands for right now. And what they do is they do surveys of your participants, your members, your staff, and what they do, and they take all that data together and they'll stack you up against how you're doing against other Ys, how you're doing locally, and they create these great charts and graphs and things like that, which then let you know what areas you need to improve on. As I mentioned earlier, Ys are kind of sharpen the saw type organizations. We're always looking to kind of do it better, and so we take those 2 formats, look at that, and see what we can do. Healthy You is there's a survey and things like that. That's the physical fitness activities. There's a caregiver survey, there's a participant survey, there's a parent survey, and depending on where you are, and then we take that and send it over to Montclair now. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any other questions? regarding the presentation or the programs? No? Okay, I do have a question that is a matter of diligence on behalf of the board, which I have to. So on March 15th, there was a letter sent by the Y to the Rutherford parents regarding this discussion and decision about possible changing of a program provider. And so there are three concerns in it that were cited, and I just wanted, so that we're understanding them, want to get specifics from you on that. So the first concern, it was stated this should be concerning the parents, and the first concern was a disruption to the lives of the children. So specifically, could you speak to what that disruption is so that we can take that into consideration?
Well, sure. I mean, you know, when the one thing is that, you know, Ys are the staff are role models to the children. They're also caregivers. So, you know, studies have shown that stability is important in the lives of children, as well as creating positive relationships with non-parental figures. And that's what we strive to do when we're working with the YMCA, or at the YMCA. The thing of it is, you know, when the kids start the new school year or anything like that, whether it's a new teacher, new grade, whatever, there is I guess a familiarity when they can go down to the gym at Lincoln or Washington or Sylvan and see the same site supervisor who they had last year, who you know, we have a lot of longevity with our staff, and parents really again like what the staff are doing. So you know, childcare is important to parents. The people who provide that childcare is obviously important to parents, and so to have you know, a disruption in service where there would be whole new providers, all new staff coming in, that was the disruption that we were concerned with.
Okay, thank you. The second, yes?
I just want to emphasize that, you know, if we were not chosen, there is a perception that maybe our staff would just go with the new provider. And we have invested a lot of resources in our staff, and we value our staff very highly. So we are very aware and ready to maintain our staff, because we have a lot of programs. As you can see, we don't do just school-age childcare, and we would maintain those staffs in other positions. So, you know, we've put a lot of effort and resources into getting our staff to the level that we have, and they've been with us a long time. So, you know, that has to speak to something also as far as their allegiance to us. You know, so, you know, I just want you to not think that if the other provider were chosen, that they would just hire all our people, because we would put them in other places because within our own organization, and that's where the disruption would occur.
Okay. No, I'm just trying. We were. This wasn't sent to us, but a copy was given to me,
Yes.
and we're duty bound to understand the specifics that are behind the
Yes.
concerns.
Right.
That's
No,
all.
absolutely.
So the second concern was posing very serious safety concerns for the children attending the program. Could you speak specifically to that, please?
Well, I think some of the safety concerns I tried to mention in our presentation. You know, this is running the before and after care program is you know, complicated stuff. It's you can't, not anybody can do it off the street. I mean, we like I said, we hire and vet our staff, and they have to meet the Department of Family and Child Services standards, as well as YMCA of the USA standards, as well as YMCA of the state New Jersey standard. So you know, we have extensive training in child abuse prevention that we pass on to our staff. And then, as I referenced, working with our insurance company, is, you know, the world is evolving. And, you know, the dangers that face our kids, you know, if you're a good YMCA or a child care professional, you need to constantly be educating yourself on this stuff. We have the infrastructure in place, both through, you know, again, the Y State Alliance, or through our Redwoods company, that we're constantly being made aware of threats to the children, and then given resources and guidelines how to prevent them. You know, as to what other companies may do, whether profit, for profit, you know, what they could, that I don't know. I know the YMCA safety standards are high. So,
Yeah, and I don't think, certainly not trying to challenge the YMCA
Sure.
standards. You reference specific serious concerns for the safety of our children, and I wanted to know what those serious concerns, if there were specific ones, what they were.
just, that, you got to make sure that whoever your provider is, again, is doing their due diligence to protect who are, they're your children, we consider them our children too. And make sure that, they're all, whether it's risk management, whether it's hiring, whether it's, again, constant training on supervision is in place. That's the safety concern. You can't just hire anybody off the street. You can't just let them think it's an easy job without any training or anything like that.
Okay. I believe we're aware of that. But the third one was that the board, if there's not enough due diligence given to choosing a provider, and due diligence falls on the shoulders of the administration, the board, and we have a curriculum and instruction committee that researches things.
Right.
So is there specific lack of due diligence that you'd like to call our attention to?
No, I mean, nothing. I think, when now that, we're going through this process and different companies are allowed to do their proposals and kind of state what they can offer, I think that's an additional layer. And again, I thank the board for letting us present. But again, we carry $10 million worth of insurance. I don't know if you've seen insurance certs from the other people. We're fully licensed. We actually currently have our license, and have the staff in place to maintain that license. So, for instance, according to Office of Licensing Standards, your director or your sponsor needs to have a college degree. We have 4 of them right there, so we're able to maintain our license. We work with our inspectors. They come by the office and check our paperwork. They both have my cell phone. They call anytime they want. So they're, just to make sure that the licensing practices are being followed. Again, the state of New Jersey calls for a 15-to-1 ratio for caregivers to kids. We do maintain that, but many times we go underneath of that. For instance, at the kindergarten center, they can use as many hands as they can get some afternoons.
Okay, so no specific lack of due diligence that you're suggesting. Just want to, okay, thank you.
I guess I'll let other people.
Yeah, no, we have to, as a board, we need to make sure we've done this, okay?
Yep.
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean that to be.
I'm okay.
Please. Okay, so we have thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a second presentation, which I don't believe needs the PowerPoint.
You can just turn off the power.
And so timing-wise, we'll do the same thing. We'll set the timer for 10 minutes, so you'll hear that go off, but we'll allow another 4.5 minutes, to be fair.
Okay. Thank you for allowing Family Balance to present tonight and to show our commitment to the Rutherford community. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Maria Johnson. I've lived in Rutherford for over 30 years on Francisco Avenue. I have 2 grown sons who attended and graduated from the Rutherford schools, and they could not have received a better education. As an active resident, I have served as a Rutherford Board of Ed member for 8 years, so I know how many hours you do put in. I currently serve as the president of the Rutherford Chamber of Commerce, and I also chair the West End Committee for our mayor, who has provided the Fall Festival and revitalization effort for the past 5 years. During the last 20 years, I worked for a very similar nonprofit that also provided before and after care within a school setting. And now I'm very proud and excited to become the Chief Operating Officer of Family Balance Concepts. Family Balance's vision is to provide a quality before and after school program to the Rutherford School District which can bring stability, security, and great opportunity for the children and their families. We know that some children struggle in meeting New Jersey's learning standards. Our quality after-school program will provide academic help, a structured environment, peer learning, as well as offer connections with others that create opportunities for students of any age to develop new skills. Communication between the school, the family, and our staff members is critical in achieving this goal. We care about their academics, we care about their health, and we care about their home life. And Family Balance would like to be that network where families come to for extra help. After this presentation, you'll see that our before and after school program was designed to reflect the interests of the Rutherford school children and to become a partner with the parents and the Rutherford educators. Our organization will only focus on childcare and how we can best engage and assist families in every way possible by offering a network of support that allows families a healthier, stress-free environment at the end of the day. Family Balance Concepts was founded and started by CEO Melissa Irwin and Brianna. Although Melissa could not be in attendance tonight, her vision could not become a reality without the following members of this organizational team. Our professional team consists of 4 individuals: the CEO, myself, Vanessa Tresca, our on-site program supervisor, who, by the way, is here tonight and has been serving our children directly with school-age childcare and summer camp programs for the last 20 years. And last but not least, our Family Care Development Director, Amelia Griffiths. Combined, our team has a total of 77 years of nonprofit, school-age childcare and youth programming, experience that has been serving the community children for over 20 years. And now I'd like to present Amelia Griffiths, who will continue with the rest of the program.
Hello, my name is Amelia Griffiths, and I am a Family Care Development Director for Family Balance. I am honored to be able to present to the Rutherford Board of Ed and its community members this evening. I am so excited to be here as a spokesperson for Family Balance and to share with you this exciting and much needed new generation of school-age child care programming. Just to give you an idea of my background and experience, I owned and operated a successful theatrical studio serving children ages 2.5 to adults for over 12 years. Once I started my own family, I decided to close my studio and began working part-time for a nonprofit child care provider, in which I quickly became the full-time child care director. In my 20 years as a child care director, I have gained numerous contracts with local school districts throughout Bergen, Passaic, and Morris counties that provided school-age child care and summer camps. I have taken over existing programs as well as started some from scratch, and through it all, Melissa, Maria, and Vanessa have been an important part of that journey. Between the 4 of us, we are working parents, and one of us a widowed. It has always been our desire to do and give more to our community families, but we did not have the authority to do so. But with Family Concepts, we finally can. Let me explain to you how Family Balance is the same, and then I will highlight the amazing differences. Family Balance program will be a state license just as the other child care provider is. Family Balance employees will be trained and screened before they are hired. This process is mandated by the New Jersey State of Child Care Licensing Unit. This will include 12 to 20 hours of staff training, reference checks, background checks, carry checks, fingerprints, child abuse prevention, certificate in CPR and first aid, training in bloodborne passages and EpiPen use, staff orientation training. Family Balance will have liability insurance. Our coverage is $5 million. Family Balance programs will follow state license policies and procedures, just such as emergency evacuation, lockdown drills, just to name a few. Because we face the same struggles and our world is evolving faster than ever, and we are connected 24/7 in today's world of technology, we know what parents need and what they want because we were all once there with our own children. And what better way than to experience the differences and knowing what is needed and what can be eliminated. That's why we are committed to being different than other providers by offering much needed additional features. Our additional features are as followed. We will be having before school, after school, scheduled half day, emergency drop-off in service, financial assistance, sibling and active military discount, a homework check, a lower staff to child ratio being 1 to 10, not 1 to 15. Tutor assistance will be offered Monday through to Thursday by a certified teacher. Financial support provided to the Board of Ed, PTA, Rutherford Education Foundation, and Project Graduation. We want to be a part of all of that. Grant writing, a high school cooperative program, and volunteer opportunities. Catch, a program by Flag House. Our fees are comparable to the fees you are currently paying. Payment reminders will be given in the form of a gentle email or a text to avoid late fee charges. We will have guest speaker events on important family topics, STEM and STEAM curriculum, as well as safety and anti-bullying topics. A family advocate, a parent of a child in each of our programs, will be chosen at each site to communicate directly with Family Balance so that we can address any concerns or suggestions regarding the quality of the program. A family dietitian partnership to give families helpful tips, ideas, recipes, as well as answer and assist any parent with questions regarding their family nutrition. Community business partnerships, monthly curriculum calendars, so every parent is aware of what is happening per month. Family full-day childcare located at one of the Rutherford schools for all of the school breaks. A family care bank. As a courtesy, we offer parents to save up and keep track of funds to cover full-day family care when schools are closed. And last, but certainly not least, we have 0 membership fees. You don't need to be a member because all are welcome to our program. We would like to thank you for considering Family Balance Concepts as your district's child care provider, but most importantly, in my closing, I'd like to say, as an experienced child care director of 20 years and a parent of 3, it really isn't so much about how our program is the same as the current provider, but more about the ways that our program is different. Any additional questions? You can contact Family Balance directly. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was, thank you. Do any members of the board have a question for clarification, or, yes, Mrs. Libera?
I'd like to ask the same question that I asked earlier, and that is either looking forward into the programs that you'll be offering or speaking from your experience, can you talk about how you will evaluate the effectiveness of the program and how you will identify opportunities for improvement?
Surveys is a natural way to evaluate, provided that the parents fill the surveys out and that the educators fill the surveys out. But more importantly, we have instituted the parent advocate, so that would be somebody at each site who gets a good grip of what's going on in the program, and we're in constant communication, and that parent advocate hopefully will be speaking to the parents and bring it back to us so that we can make the adjustments that are necessary. And that's where we think we think that part is very crucial, because staying in contact and always being there and having our contact with our staff, bringing it back to us so that we can make those adjustments.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions from the board? Yeah, sure.
So being that, recognizing that there's experience in the group, but being that this would be a new program for the community, what sorts of assurance can you provide in the consistency of the programs that will be offered?
Okay. As you heard, our program is basically alike except for the differences. And that is,
I'm sorry, I don't know if I made that clear. Not consistency with the current program,
Okay.
but continuity and consistency of your program should you be selected.
oh, okay. Well, our continuity, of course, will be our staff. The staff, once a provider is chosen, it will go out for employment opportunities. Current staff is welcome with us because we do know that they have built a bond. Because we're 1 to 10, we will have more staff. Our tutors, we are hoping will be subs in the Rutherford school system, and so that we can provide an extra income to them as well. That hopefully the continuity will come from the teachers that are coming down, and we are going to make an effort to find out exactly what they're learning with the teachers, and I think constant communication is very much a big ingredient in that. And so they will be learning and reinforcing what they're learning during the day, as well as having fun. That's important too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No additional questions? Okay. So thank you for the presentation, both. And we will go back to the agenda, which, yes? So we're going to rearrange the agenda a little bit so that we can move into the open to the public for comments. And again, let me just double check, see if we've got, before there were 10 or 12 people that felt they wanted to make some comments. And do we still have that amount? Or if you're interested in making comments, just so we can kind of judge what kind of time allotment to make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're still at 12. So I think if we try to do this allowing 3 minutes, but we're not going to bring out the hook and pull somebody off if that's the case. So just if you can try to limit it to 3 minutes. Thank you, Gary. That would be appreciated.
Last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I got 2 hours to drive.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you, Gary. Good luck. So and just to remind folks of this format. So this is a comment period where we're interested in hearing the comments of those in attendance, so that we can factor all of those things into the decision-making process that we will be going through in 2 weeks.
The 25th.
The 25th. And just as far as, I'm sorry? 3 weeks, yes. And just as far as kind of procedural format, we try not to be too formal, but you can imagine with a lot of people with questions, we have to keep kind of some formality around it. So when you're making a comment, we ask you to introduce yourself by name and your address in town, where you're from. Make your comments. If they're included in your comments, there are some questions. We may ask, either questions or on the comments, the board may ask for some clarifying of that. If there's a question that can be answered directly, and I may call on somebody to answer that question, but many of the questions maybe will have to be answered at a later time, and we'll take those and get back to the person who's asking the question. So we want to keep it certainly a respectful forum. We want to hear as many comments as we can, and so we will open up the floor at, the time is 8:51, we will open the floor to comments from the public regarding anything on the agenda, including the presentations which we have just heard, even though there will not be a movement on those presentations this evening. Just step up, just go ahead and step up. Yeah, if you could step up to the microphone and just, give us your name and address and your comments, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, my name is Lucille Skirty. I've been a resident of Rutherford since 1975. I am also a retired teacher from Fairlawn, 35 years there. I also had the pleasure of teaching Jack's daughters. I am here right now on behalf of Stephen Way, who is a lifelong Rutherford resident. He is a graduate of the Rutherford schools, a very close friend of my son, and he is presently a substitute teacher in the Rutherford School District. And he has asked me, since he could not be present tonight, to make this statement on his behalf. Dear Board, I regret not being able to personally attend tonight's meeting, but I hope you will consider family balance concepts to run the after-school program. FBC will offer a friendly and secure environment for students, whether they need tutoring or a quiet space to complete their homework. Parents will take comfort in knowing that their child is safe, looked after, and students can be sure that they will be given the help that they need. The after-school program, run by Family Balance, will also help members of the community by offering part-time work to those who desperately need it. With all of this in mind, I hope that you strongly consider Family Balance concepts to run the after-school program. Thank you. Written by Stephen Way. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, my name's Lori Staselis. I live at 39 Montrose. This is all very alarming, obviously, to a lot of parents. My children are currently in the Y, which I'm very pleased with. Some questions I'm just going to put out there. I don't necessarily expect answers right now. Are there budgets that are reviewed on new programs? There seems to be a lot of promises of dietitians, tutoring, teachers, funds to the PTA, to name a few. That sounds like a lot of money going out to a lot of people. I'm not sure how the 10-to-1 ratio and a lot of other to support the people that are going to work there to keep it funded. It sounds a little alarming on a local level that having children that have been in daycares and in the Y, there's many of these companies that go under, that many that promise the world and don't deliver. After my kids, my sister's kids, being in the Y, they deliver, and we know that. And it's alarming, I understand, and I think everyone has a chance, but it's more than just a chance. It's our children here, and just someone coming in, I think we need to evaluate everything at hand and where the money is gonna come up, because there's a lot that's gonna sound like it's going out.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mike Cosenzo, 197 Mountain Way. Came over to this same reasons most of us are here, YMCA and the new potential program. Now I must say my children are satisfied with the YMCA. Myself, on the other hand, the YMCA needs some work. They did about 6 weeks ago put out a review, but about a week later we were email blasted, text blasted, letter blasted for this meeting. Not yet have parents seen the response. And I do know there are several unsatisfied parents for various reasons, nothing like life-threatening. However, hearing the different comments this evening, I do have some things that came up. Length of contract with the YMCA. I'm all for putting competition where competition belongs. Maybe the length of the contract needs to be changed. Excuse me, it's been a long day. I've been up since 3 in the morning. Also, maybe a clause for termination for convenience. My contracts normally have them. It works. What's convenient? Board's not happy, town's not happy. YMCA is just not pulling their weight. Could work. Now, the new program. Believe it or not, I am troubled that it is a startup. That bothers me greatly. It does leave me to suspect that it is our own town people who want to create this startup. We're a small, tight-knit community. We like to keep things the way we like them. Sometimes you need to reach outside yourself. And when it comes to our children, it comes to a startup, sometimes the outside has the better concepts. And startups are startups. There are dangers with startups. If that is the direction taken, I believe a probationary period should be put in place for the company, or maybe a shorter term contract than maybe the YMCA would receive. So if it is not successful, we as the town do not have to suffer. That's about all I have for this evening. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Weiss. I live at 84 West Pierpont Avenue, and I have 2 children in before and after care, or just after care. And I want to touch on what Lori mentioned, which is the money, because we're the ones paying for it. My understanding is that the borough and the Board of Ed and the schools pay nothing for before and after care, and that all of the money comes from those of us who work full-time and can't take care of our kids before and after school. And my feeling is if I'm the consumer, I should be able to make some of the choices about what I want for my kids. I choose their doctor, I choose their religious affiliation and education, I choose the sports, I choose my car and my car seats, because I want the best, most reliable, consumer report rated everything for my kids. There's nothing more important to me. And I'm not going to say the Y is perfect, but I will tell you that my kids don't want to leave at the end of the day. If we say to them, hey, we're going to have dinner with grandma, or we're going on a trip, they say, no, I want to play with Mr. Chris. Miss Lee and I are coloring. So even if both programs are equal, and I have no doubt that these women have a wonderful program, but even if they were equal, change would be the reason I would stay with the Y. Because as Lori said, and as it came up in here, consistency is the setting in which children thrive. They don't like change. And they know these people, and these people know us. And I don't think we need a parent advocate because we have relationships with those people. We speak to them. So my frustration, and I think I speak for some others here, is that we somehow don't get to choose. You get to choose. But you aren't paying for it, and you don't have children like ours necessarily who are in the program. So we hope that you will take into consideration our wishes for our children.
Hi, David Ziccanella, 45 Sylvan Street. I don't repeat too much of what was said because I agree with a lot of what Rebecca went over. But as a parent, a working parent with children in the system, I was a lot upset about how I was notified about this. And I know you would, I would say tact, but you definitely went after the letter that Y sent out. But thank God for that letter, because I wouldn't know about this otherwise. As a taxpayer, resident, and user of the service, If you're going to be changing providers, we should have an input on that and have an advance notice and not have to find out by a provider. And I agree with all the points in their letter. The stability of the program, and I'm a hiring manager, I know how it is to hire people. I don't hire 15, 20, 30 people in one clip in a short period of time, but that would be a difficult process, I would believe, is that I have concerns over that. But more importantly, I have concerns over the stability of the program, the way this whole process has gone down, the way that this voting process, I would like to know what the vetting process is, if other bids were accepted in this process, if it went out to bid, and I'd like to know the process you're going to use to evaluate the provider and how you're going to choose it. And I want to know whose votes go towards each of the providers at the end of the day as well. Because I do want accountability from the board on such a big decision that impacts my family and families of many others in town. And transparency is important. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Barbara Burns, and I don't like public speaking, but I want to thank you, first of all, for having before and after care, because for a lot of working parents that have to be on the bus at 7:30, you know, some of us do need that early drop-off. Just a little story, my son, who goes to morning care, you know, every day at Washington School, I had the day off, and he's like, Christopher, we can go to school late today. He's like, no, Mom, I want to go to morning care. I want to go see Miss Linda. So I know you mention all the things, and you talk about the stability, and change is sometimes good, sometimes not, but, you know, our children, they're there a long time. 7 in the morning to either 4 or, you know, 4:30 or 6, 6:30, whatever it is, they're there for a long time. And I don't know if I want them doing work and more work. Maybe they want to play for a little bit. Maybe they want to toss the ball, play cards or a game. You know, they do enough work in school. They have to come home and do homework. So again, if I'm an accountant by trade, so if you can go home, please make a list on a spreadsheet like I did, and do YMCA and Family Balance. And not only that, but you mentioned the letter, but then you didn't mention the letter that was written to the newspaper, North Jersey Bergen, that we had to find. And you didn't point that out to anyone. You know, like, you should have at least brought that up and all the points that they mentioned in that article. Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't have known about this aside from the letter. And now, I mean, I know it's listed on the website. The first time I ever went to the website was when Pierpont was changing, which is another thing. You know, you have to consider, can Pierpont now have morning care now that you can have like 60 kids in there? Now you're combining the schools now, right? And you have so much change going on. These kids are moving every 3 years now. Give them something that's the same for a little bit.
My name is Cynthia Chauvin-Dalton. I live at 36 Riverview, and I have a son in aftercare at Lincoln School, and he is one of those kids who also gets upset if I pick him up early. We've been very happy with the Y. I also echo some of the concerns, I won't repeat them, about it being a startup. But, you know, when we first heard about this, and I thank the Y for alerting us, because, you know, I do check the Board of Ed agendas, but sometimes it doesn't happen till the weekend before, and that really wouldn't have been enough time. And that's the first we would have heard about it from the board. But I did go and check out the website for Family Balance, and I have to say I was very concerned, and I think any parent who has looked at it should be concerned. You know, I find a real lack of transparency there. The only person listed as staff is the CEO. The people who presented tonight aren't even listed as staff on the website. Whereas there are many staff people listed on the WISE website. If I have some of the pages here, if you go to the WISE website, they have their curriculum, their program goals. They have a whole thing on Healthy You. That's on their website and publicly available. On Family Balance, when you go to what their program is, they say, we instantly obtain a captured audience and can easily distribute our program information to you then. I'm sorry, the phrase captured audience should be alarming. I don't want a provider that thinks of me and my children as a captured audience. I certainly have never gotten that impression from the Y. I want to hear about the program. I want to hear what they're going to be doing. I want to hear if there's a physical education component to it. I don't want to hear that I'm a captured audience.
Hi, I'm Jessica Morales, 1127 Prospect Place. I do echo most of the concerns here. My daughter is currently in the kindergarten center. This was her first year of school. She loves the aftercare program. I love the flexibility of aftercare program. I only need it 3 days of the week. I can switch days if I need to. If I need Wednesday instead of Friday, they allow me to switch out. No arguments, call up, send an email, it's done. She does not want to leave the days that she's actually home with me. She's not happy. She likes to be in the aftercare program. She misses Miss Diane and all her friends that are at the aftercare program. I again echo the concerns here of the fact that money was going to be given to the Board of Education, whoever else. I don't understand why there has to be money given to programs that we are paying for. Again, echoing the fact that the YMCA has been around for many years, it's international. Just to have a startup, I'm all for wanting to start up a company, but again, you're talking about our children. You're not talking about just opening a corner store. You're talking about our children, the general care of our children throughout the day. For parents who have to work, it's already hard dropping your kid off. Now to drop off to strangers that you don't know, to a startup company, being concerned, what are they doing, you know, how are they taking care of my children? Knowing a YMCA, knowing they're been around for years, you have the comfort of leaving your child. But leaving with somebody who's a startup, again, may be a wonderful program, but honestly, I don't want it experimented on my child.
Hello, my name is Lena Merrill. I live at 95 West Passaic Avenue, and I have 2 children in the school district. And thank you for allowing us to come and voice our opinions. You know, one of the things that I think is most concerning to some of us here is that we weren't aware of this until we got the letter from the Y. And so, you know, I can understand your concern that the Y sent this letter, but we're concerned, why did we get this letter? Why weren't we notified? Where was the due diligence in notifying the people who paid for this program on behalf of their children? And it really is a concern now because you've kind of decimated the level of trust that we had in the board in making a decision like this. I want to know if there was a bid process. How did you find this other company to even make a proposal? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? Did you solicit other bids from other companies? What did the Y do that after 12 years or however many years, somehow got this process kick-started? Like, what happened? Is there something we need to know about from the Y part? We've been really happy. I've been, my family, very happy with the Y. And I, have a couple of things that I found online, just kind of trying to research family balance concepts. One is a letter, it was a response letter to the Edgewater Board of Education, where they're asking qualifying questions. And one of those questions was, what is the formula used to determine the monetary amount the BOE receives? And I want to know why the BOE would be getting money from a program like this that is completely paid for by the parents. Where's that money coming from, and why aren't we getting it back in the form of either lower fees or a rebate? And then the other thing that I'm concerned about is the letter that the Family Balance Concept sent to the northjersey.com, talking about, this person said, I have over 17 years of experience in the field of nonprofit care and managing the Y program. So I want to know how that relationship ended. I also want to know what kind of background checks and accountability these volunteer professionals that she's talking about in this letter being hired to, well, they're not even hired, they're volunteers. Like, how are you going to turn volunteers loose on our kids? What kind of accountability are they going to have? And it's just all very alarming, very upsetting. I really hope that you decide to keep the Y. They have the relationship, they have the infrastructure, and I'm not bashing anybody, but I'm just saying this is not a good decision to make. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marina Townsend, 323 Orient Way, 93 grad, RHS. Mr. Hurley was my 10th grade English teacher. You're not over a day of 39, but thanks so much for taking the time. I think I might have started the email campaign that the board had received, and the only reason I found out about this was really through a Facebook posting. So my child is starting kindergarten here in a public school come September. So I just wanted to get an understanding, what is the process for the bidding? Because I'm all for open competition. If you have a better way, great, let's hear about it. If we can join the two programs, the merrier, but I just didn't understand the bidding process. I didn't understand the vetting process, and that's something, again, I may not get those answers today, but that was alarming to me, just to understand how you came about to one vendor and not letting the parents know, not letting, doing a focus group or actually doing a survey trying to find out what happened. So that was my concern and the urgency of the email, and I'm glad that we have this opportunity to meet with the two vendors and also be able to present to you. So that's really where my concern came from, was more or less the vetting process. And if we can open it up, but I just had that concern, so thank you.
My name is Gwendolyn Rodriguez. I live at 21 Feronia Way. I have a beautiful 11-year-old daughter who just finished attending the program after all her years. And then I have a student who will be starting in kindergarten next year. So I'm looking forward to beginning all over again. So it's concerning to me that there's going to be a change in services. I don't want to restate what others have said, but the honest truth is I didn't really hear anything different in the program offering, other than the coverage during a break, which would be nice, that would be great, and maybe the Y could reconsider their process for that and where they offer that. Other than that, the other programs, I don't need any more recipes in my inbox, I'm sorry. The programs were not really anything in particular different. My children have always gotten help with the homework, sports, activities. Those are the things my daughter would complain about. They made us do exercise. They made us have a healthy snack. They made me do my homework. Those were her complaints about the YMCA, so we've always been very satisfied with the program. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lynn Maloney. I live at 88 Beach Street. I have 2 children in the YMCA program right now. We're very happy with it. 2 things I just wanted to bring up. One, we're very satisfied with the program, by the way. I'm all for free commerce, and everybody should have a chance to bid on opportunities, so I have no issue with these women trying to bring forward a proposal. I have the same concern about the fact that the parents were not notified, except by the YMCA, so I share that concern. However, I guess my concern would be if this new company were to come in and we had issues with the way they were running the program. Currently, if we have a problem with the YMCA, we have accessibility to all of these people through phone calls, websites. I've made comments. I agreed with that gentleman. They're not perfect. I've made comments. I've always gotten a response, and changes have been made. So my concern would be, where do we go if we disagree? There's no huge company behind them that we can go up the chain and voice our concerns. So that would be one. The other thing I have to say, being a business person myself, if I were the CEO of a company and I were bidding a proposal for being considered, I would certainly be present at the meeting.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Smith. I live at 226 Fairview. I'm gonna have to lower this one a little short. And excuse me if my phone blinks off. I've been listening and taking some notes. First, I want to say I echo what a lot of the other people here have said in terms of concerns about continuity, concerns about the website and how the company presents itself already, and yet we think they're going to be ready in September to be up and running and run a full school district. I echo the concerns about the board's choosing process and how we ended up with these 2 companies, only the Y and a startup company, when I'm sure there must be other bidders out there. I echo concerns about the harshness of your response to the letter, particularly because it's the only way that we found out. And I think the lack of transparency is concerning. And again, to what Rebecca said, we are the ones that are fully funding our children's before and after care, and I just don't see how we wouldn't have been informed sooner that you were looking to make changes, or why. I do have another question. If there's something wrong with the Y, then why would we choose former Y employees with all of their Y experience? I have another question that I guess I would hope that you would pose as well to this startup company that's talking about assigning a family advocate. Who's this family advocate going to be? Who's going to pay them? Will they be independent if they're supposed to be the ones that are talking about the effectiveness of the program? The other thing is, I just think that you should consider that the Y answers to a greater power. Who do these people answer to on a given day? So when somebody gives them comments on effectiveness, on how they're doing what do they have to do with that? Who do they have to answer? Who's independently going to change management? What if we're not happy with the management of the company? Do we just get rid of them? I don't really know that any of those questions have been answered. And that's all.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Hegman, 11 Air Place. I have a son that's been in Washington School for 3 years with aftercare, and I've been extremely happy with the program. It's dependable, and I want to take Miss Diana home with me most of the time. I don't know why we would be exploring this change. I'm a little confused on that I'm seeing here that somebody that sent me an email from the YMCA is presenting a new program. I've not had any issues with the Y at all. They're extremely flexible. My son gets his homework help, and he's always happy to be there. And the people that are watching him all day, I'm very secure that he's safe, and they actually know what he needs, which I can almost not say for his teachers in school. They seem to know him at aftercare better than, and what his needs are, better than his teachers in the school all day. The way this all came about was extremely disturbing to me, but, and I can, I don't want to repeat everything that others have said, but I agree with all of it. I'm also in human resources, and if this is going to be decided on the 25th, that gives about 4 months to have all of those licenses and certifications and training and, all organized. It's just, I don't want this experiment on my son and all my son's friends. Thank you.
Ruth Barnes, 350 Park Avenue. I have been coming to the Board of Ed on and off for 30-something years, okay? One of the things I did do as a parent is I did come to a lot of meetings because not always can the Board of Ed notify you of things. This is an issue. These parents should have been notified. Saying that, I have to say I find it extremely offensive and insulting that obviously I have children who are grown, but they have blessed me with 6 grandchildren who are in district, 3 who are in school, and the next are steps, and they're coming up. Yes, you parents are paying the tuition to the YMCA, but this Board of Education is allowing the YMCA to use the school buildings that Joe Public pays for, okay? They give no money to our district. They pay no rent. I pay taxes too, okay? So does everybody else in this town. Now, that's kind of a can of worms I don't want to open up, because I believe that you parents deserve a break in that tuition because childcare is so expensive. But if all the other residents ever got together who don't utilize that program and say, why should you get a break? When, if the YMCA paid rent.
Just to remind of the format, we want to hear your
If the
comments.
YMCA
And we ask people to be respectful and listen to the comments, please.
If the YMCA paid rent to the Rutherford Public School systems, it may help with some of our maintenance and defer some of our costs, which would then trickle down to the taxpayer. As far as the YMCA presenting, okay, I'm not for or against the YMCA. Like I said, I have 6 grandchildren. What I did find offensive is almost a scare tactic email that went out. These are young parents, they don't need to be frightened. And I do feel it's insulting to this Board of Ed when a member stands up of the YMCA and is telling them to do their due diligence. I believe our superintendent and this Board of Ed knows how to do their due diligence. And for somebody to come up here and remind them to do it and instill fear into these parents that something's going to happen to their children, that's a disgrace. I personally know Maria Johnson. I don't know anybody else from Family Balance. I only know her. I can speak to her character, and I don't think you'd ever get a letter from her scaring you that your children are going to be harmed. I have been in the school, I'm still in these schools, and I can tell you right now, I haven't met a staff member who would intentionally hurt, or any board member. I may not agree with all of you. There's many times, and they know it, I don't agree with this board. But their heart is in the right place. And if they're looking for a change, let them do their due diligence. And yes, voice your opinion. But don't be narrow-minded. And don't, please, it's insulting to taxpayers to say, because I don't have a child in the YMCA after-school program, I don't have a voice. I'm a taxpayer. I always have a voice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Sprayberry. I live at 275 Mountain Way, and I don't like public speaking either, but this is my son here, so I feel like I should take the 2 minutes. I just want to make a statement first, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was at the superintendent's meeting with Mr. Hurley a couple weeks ago, and I believe no one on the board has a child in aftercare or before care. So I just want to reiterate that we as the 15 or 20, you have one?
I don't currently, but I have had them in and out.
Okay. Well, I think that's very important that all these 15 or 20 parents that came tonight are, you know, sitting here raising their concerns. I will say I work in corporate America. I give these women, you know, kudos to them. I would also say that I would have had at least, I'd like to see 3 bids. You know, it's a little disconcerting to me that there were only 2, but life goes on. I also think it was deplorable the way this all went about. I will also say that Mr. Hurley pretty much apologized at the superintendent's roundtable for the way it went about. So I think everyone realizes, and let's move on. I think transparency going forward is very important. I think everyone realizes that. The 2 things that I just wanted to, I mean, I reiterate what pretty much everyone else said tonight. My son is in Lincoln School, and everyone knows that I'm a helicopter parent. It's so nice to be able to drop him off and know that he will be very well cared for. Miss Claire is awesome over there, and she's just amazing. The 2 things that I just wanted to point out, no one mentioned the fact that the other competitors have half of the insurance that YMCA has. I think that's very important to note. And I think the other thing is, I hope I misheard that the fact that they said that they would have 15 to 20 hours of training for the staff, because last time I checked, that's pretty much 2.5 days. Compared to what the training and the services that the YMCA has and the track record that they have, I think it's very important to put that in play as well. So I just want to thank everyone for hearing our concerns, and if you can take that into account when you make this decision. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beverly Kahn. I live at 48 Washington Avenue, lifelong resident. As a single parent, I've used the Y, and I've also paid top dollar for childcare, up to $80,000 for her first 6 years. You all know what it costs as a working mother. The Y is affordable. It's great. My daughter loves it. She complains her homework gets done at the Y, but she has a lot of fun. Miss Diana is my other spouse. That's how I look at the Y. I have a personal vested interest, and I'm a little emotional because I can't imagine a day without Y. And that's all I need to say. And I don't want to take anything away from what you're offering, because I am a professional. And I respect bids, RFPs, transparency. I do wish you well, and I do wish you have a great program you can bring back to us. But as a startup, there's some things still missing that we need to know. And while our children are in there, I don't want to be the first to test it out. So come back with some more experience and the years that the Y has, the Carlstad, the other centers that they use as well during spring break, and we can reach out to so many different facilities that the Y cross-utilizes. You know, we're not against you, but we are very happy. And that's, my daughter wanted me to say she loves it.
Thank you.
Hello, board. My name is Christina Cole. My address is 279 Mountain Way. I have 2 boys in the system. They just started recently going to before care because my husband started to work in the city again, and I have to say that they absolutely love it. I was off this past week for spring break, and I did not bring them to aftercare, and I kind of like got a little emotional because they didn't want me to bring them to school to drop off because they wanted to go to before care to play and have the activities. So I came in here with an open mind. I did not know anything about Family Balance. I knew everything about the whys because my son's been using it since kindergarten. And I'm a teacher, and I commend them for coming in here and trying something new. But did anybody ask any of the kids what they thought? I mean, we don't talk about the children, but the children are the ones that are immediately there with the YMCA every day. They can speak to their parents, the parents can speak for them, but we have a small enough town and a small enough board with very common faces that we see all the time. You can probably just step into one of the aftercares and ask 5 or 10 kids and be like, do you like the YMCA aftercare? What do you see is an improvement? What would you like to see? And I think that could have kind of like eliminated a lot of the problems that we're having. And I know people personally that do not like the YMCA, and I know that since that letter came out, the YMCA kind of stepped up their game a little bit. I saw like a lot more activities and everything, so there's pros and cons to both, but you have to kind of think about the kids first. If the kids aren't really complaining about a lot and they really love going there, it kind of like doesn't really matter what the parents like, because parents it's like teaching. The kids are having a great time, but the parents might hate what the teacher said to them that one instant. But if the kids are having a good time and they enjoy going and they're not screaming and kicking, which I've never seen before, really, ever, why are we going to change it? Okay? That's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? So I think, since there is such a large group here, I think it's important for a couple of things that we can respond to. One would be the issue of contract. It's an appointment, right? There's an annual appointment.
Yeah, the bid process does not apply to the selection of this sort of provider, because as the point was made, the board is not spending any money on this process, but we did receive a proposal from Family Balance Concepts, and to get the other side of the coin, we reached out to the Y and told them that we did have another proposal and asked for their best proposal as well.
And so that I wanted to answer. Someone had asked a question about length of contract. So there is no multi-year contract involved. It's a year-to-year appointment of the program provider. I'm not sure. There was some interesting points in that same question about ability to terminate, that sort of thing. I mean, there obviously is some agreement between the two parties, so those are interesting comments. I would ask Mr. Hurley to speak to the evolution, because I think that's something people, with this larger group here, I'd like you to leave with some better understanding of that. A number of you we saw at the breakfast that Saturday morning, and you heard the same thing, and it was referred to that Mr. Hurley apologized. It was an apology about the process. So if you could just discuss the...
Sure. Family Balance, as Mr. Kelly said, approached us with a proposal. We then asked the Y to give us a proposal, since we had an alternative provider who gave us one. We checked through with our board attorney in terms of whether there's a bid process, how it goes under the use of facilities policy, in terms of allowing an outside company to come in and in essence, either get use of our buildings or rent our buildings for their business. So we proceeded with having the Curriculum and Instruction Committee in October, I believe, when Family, to backtrack, first approached us. We did mention it at a board meeting, and I know the comment was made, and it's a fair comment, and I'm not defending or saying that this is enough notice, but we did discuss it at an October board meeting, and then we reached out to the Y, we got a proposal from them. Around the time of year we would consider it. We tabled even talking about it until we got past the new year, because that's when we would every year entertain the Y about renewing or not renewing with them for the following year. So the Curriculum and Instruction Committee reviewed it. Every board member was given the 2 proposals to review. The committee discussed it. The committee made a recommendation that was going to be considered at a board meeting. Again, the idea being, and the idea of the process being, the agenda gets published, excuse me, and people have a right to come and speak to items on the agenda. The what I mentioned at the coffee hour, the coffee with the superintendent, was, I'm not going to excuse, defend, try to explain, or blame somebody, whose fault was it or what happened. I think hearing the parents, we thought we were having it out there. Obviously, the board agenda, board minutes, things of that nature wasn't enough. So that's why, once really we responded with about 4 emails. The first 4 emails that came to me, I got in touch with the board and said, I think we have to rethink the process. And I think as one of the comments was, we wanted to do it the right way. The right way was to discuss it as we did at the morning of the coffee hour, which really is like a coffee 2 hours, and about an hour and 40 minutes of it was about this decision. At that meeting were probably 4 or 5 board members as well, so they heard the discussion. And also in terms of just kind of a sit around having a conversation over a cup of coffee, took part a little bit in the discussion. The idea was the concerns were heard, hence the public presentation, hence the fact that I don't want the board to now say tonight, okay, we heard, let's make a decision tonight. I don't want the audience that's here tonight not to have time to even reflect a little more, and should the need be to send an email or make a comment, they can do that. We have tried to increase board visibility. Part of the reason why we do these programs like we did in the gym tonight is to try to get more parents and community members to come to board meetings. We've also put now a link on the web that you can watch the video within a day or two, as opposed to trying to catch it on Comcast. Because there's, 50 people here tonight, 60, I don't know what the numbers were, but we have 130 or 135 families that are using the aftercare program. So by delaying the vote after tonight for another 3 weeks, somebody watches the video, they want to send us a message, a question, a concern, a comment, we would do that. The intention is to do the things that you're speaking of, which is to provide the best service that you do own. So a couple of people said that. You own it. There's absolutely no debate about that. You own it. So the idea here was to recognize that our thought about putting it out there, we obviously didn't do a good enough job of that, and we put the brakes on it so that we can hear from you. And I appreciate the fact that, on a night, on not the best weather, a lot of other things going on, you're here and you spoke. And I know the board listened, and we'll go forward and make the decision that's in the best interest of everyone for the 25th. So that's the process.
And just a little further to, again, answer maybe some of the questions. One of the questions was, I want to know who votes for what, that sort of thing. So, the way the board functions, and it's a very important concept. We all swear an oath to this and swear to a code of ethics, that the board does not run the schools. The board's job is to see that the schools are run well. And as such, we hire professionals on my left and on my right, are the primary ones, to run the board, or to run the district. Other people in the district report to them. So the process won't be that we'll be, on whichever night it is, candidate A, candidate B, and then we vote for our favorite. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee will go back and study this again. And who is the Curriculum and Instruction Committee? We're you. We're your neighbors. We're the people in town that you've asked to see that the schools are run well. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee will make a recommendation to the board at large that we should go this way or that way, and then each and every member of the board will vote that they agree with that or they do not. So it's possible that the Curriculum and Instruction Committee would say X, and the board as a majority would say, we don't agree with that, and so we vote no, and then we'd have to, come up with an alternative motion. So, so that will, and, hopefully some people will come back for that as well. I do want to speak, because I knew I was stepping on some ice that might crack when I asked some questions, but, and it could not help but sound confrontational for this reason. We were presented with 3 statements which, if we didn't address it, if you heard us, that we had heard about danger to your children and we did not address it, then you should be up in arms, okay? If somebody makes an inference, and believe me, from the emails we got, people took it as gospel, that there was a danger to children. We wanted to address that. And that was the sole purpose of those 3 questions. Okay, hopefully you can take that for that. So I think we've gone around on this one pretty good for tonight. If there are no further questions from the board or the public, yes, Mrs. Jones.
Has the board received a proposal in other years from the Y?
We've never had anyone come forward with a offer. We have not. I mean, originally going back 13 years ago, there were several proposals when the Y, if you remember, Haas ran the program.
Yes.
And if you go back in the history of that, I think it was maybe the Boys and Girls Club and the Y, there was several proposals then. But since then, moving forward, the board, community never really gave us reason to look, and no one ever came to us.
And I think it's because a couple of people said, what's wrong with the Y? Nothing wrong with the Y. This was not a reaction to something negative. This was a reaction looking at 2 offers and the analysis of what we felt was a better program for the children. So we're going back, we're re-looking at that, we'll look more deeply, some of your questions tonight will be vetted more thoroughly because we do want to make a decision that is best for, the children and the community.
And just one final comment. I thank the parents for coming out, but I also want to thank both the Y and Family Balance because, it's not easy. Some people can say, "Wait, I'm not comfortable public speaking." You're getting up and you get 10 minutes to try to present what you're hoping that the board and the community is going to endorse. And I appreciate the professionalism that both groups put forward tonight and the attempt to try to anticipate questions and in their presentation try to answer them. And now it's for the board and for the community to decide to what level of satisfaction you feel that was done. But I do thank everyone for their involvement tonight. So thank you.
So it's 9:38. We will close the meeting to public comment. I didn't give everybody a chance to leave. And
Or
then
stay.
we
Or
will-
stay, yeah.
Yeah, welcome to stay. We're getting into the really interesting part of the meeting. So we will move on with the agenda and the rearranged agenda, which is the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. I will sound like Cousin Brucey used to do on radio and go very quickly with my my report. A couple of quick items. Just wait for a moment.
If I could just, if you could hold the discussion to outside the room, just so we can continue with the meeting amongst ourselves, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Schools will be closed the week of April 11th, as you know, for spring recess. Park testing began today at Pierpont School. The schedule is posted on the web, but Union will begin on April 20th. The high school, April 22nd, Lincoln, April 25th, Washington, May 2nd. As we know, the testing window is shorter this year. Most of the buildings will be completed within 5 days. Some may need a little more time. The refusals that last year was a lot of discussion. This year are fewer. We, I believe, had about 20 less in Pierpont, which is testing now, than we had last year. We are at about 30 or 35 district-wide right now, where last year we had about 115. However, I'm sure there will be some that will come forward as their particular testing window gets closer. The results that we've gotten back from Park on the individual students back in December, but they are coming out, they being Pearson, is coming with a lot of, I think, very interesting data that is useful in terms of looking at where clusters of grade levels and programs have done in terms of individual skills. So if there's 12 standards, again, I'm just using numbers, in a certain level of Algebra 1, you can see where grade 9 students in Algebra 1 fell, and then a comparative and contrast to the national and state level, and you could see where you're high on a certain skill standard, where you're low. So looking at curriculum, you could in theory say maybe we need to revisit this particular standard. So I hope that as we go forward with the test and we further refine and the state further refines how it's presented, the data that I think could be very, very enlightening will become more valuable as more students take the test and more students take it with a sense of purpose. The Arbor Day celebration is coming, and I want to let the board know that that I was approached by Mr. Gomez from DPW about a donation of a tree to be planted at Union School, a cherry tree that blooms different colors, different times of years, in honor and memory of Mr. Casadante. This was a discussion that was had with Mrs. Casadante, and Mr. Casadante's daughters both went through Union School. So where there wasn't a tree on the property that is no longer there, they'll remove that stump and plant the tree and put a plaque there in his honor and his memory. I did tell Mr. Gomez that I would get back to him tomorrow. I told him I certainly thought it was a wonderful idea, and I did not anticipate the board having any problem with it, so I will get back to him tomorrow. And the only thing I'm not certain of, and I'll send you via email, I believe there's going to be a ceremony on Arbor Day, which I think is going to be Saturday the 25th is when they're going to do it. I'll confirm all that, but they're going to do a little ceremony at Union School, but they're actually going to plant it in May, but they want to do a ceremony in April. But again, don't write that, we're still kind of in the discussion stage, so once it's all finalized, I'll let you know. And just, Youth and Government Day is happening April 25th, where our high school students partner up for an afternoon with various agencies in the borough, Recreation Department, Police Department, Mayor's Office, Board of Ed Office, and so on, and they shadow for a few hours, and that's coming on April 25th. We have 6 of our 5th grade students who have been selected to participate in a statewide choral presentation. Students from Union School will be performing with a statewide chorus, and that's a great initiative. The Meadowlands Museum is having an opening on Thursday night for a permanent William Carlos Williams exhibit. And they have some really nice artifacts. They're going to have an author there who wrote about Dr. Williams, and that's on Thursday, April 7th at 6 p.m. It's not a school event, it's a community-wide event. But I did talk to the Williams Center about getting the word out on that, and we sent it home with the kids in school. One other comment to make, and there'll be some things on the agenda that we might talk about when we get there. I had mentioned last meeting about proactively doing some tests for lead in waters with so much, and we are waiting on a price, a quote from a couple of environmental companies about going forward. In the interim, we are putting lead filters into water fountains, which is just another. We have filters that catch other things, but just in to be a little bit on the proactive side. And the state is not officially telling us much yet about mandates and potential help with funding should there be a problem, or even with the testing. But we are monitoring that. But we have no reason to believe that there's a problem. All the tests of the water coming into the borough, fine, but I think in light of what's happening around the state, we'll try to get out in front of it. Keep in mind, though, that I'm not the only superintendent, we're not the only board that says, let's get proactive and test. So there is going to be a line, of people with only a handful of companies to do the work. So we might have to wait a while on that. That's it for now. If we go through the agenda, there might be some other comments come up.
Thank you, and we'll move on to the report of the...
Just a quick question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the tree for Tom, are they going to put like a little plaque
Yes.
or something? Oh, okay. That's good.
That's a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
That's great. That's moving. So if there's no other questions for our superintendent, we'll move on to the report of the president. And unlike the short report of the superintendent, the short report of the president will be short.
Well, that was short for me.
Okay. It's all relative, I know. So yeah, we want to move on with the agenda. So I'll just say that reminders to us all about the superintendent's evaluation, the online evaluation.
Right out of my mouth.
I knew it was coming, Diane.
Day
I knew
night.
it was
That's your
coming.
deadline, day
Okay.
night. Wait,
And then, yes?
One thing on that, NJSBA has a new
Yes.
website, so when you go on it, it's not as what you're used to seeing. Go on to field services, online evaluations, and then you'll see it.
I received an email today from the county superintendents about that with some instructions. I'll forward that to all of you so you have it.
Thank you. Thank you. And then the second point I would just note is that in the packet, in the cover letter for this meeting, there were committee meetings mentioned for the 18th.
Right.
And I will be, they're shipping me out of the country again, so I won't be here, but, please plan on attending those committee meetings, and I'll check in after.
Can I just clarify that? Because that might have been confused, not that would be the only thing that I wrote that was confusing. That might have been confusing. The curriculum instruction will meet, and finance will meet, because at that point we'll be preparing the budget for the final presentation on the 25th. We won't meet with policy because we got a lot done the last meeting, or personnel, we got a lot done. But building and grounds, although we don't have a lot pending, there's a few things we haven't met. So what we'll try to do is keep the building and grounds people from curriculum instruction around, have the finance folks who are part come maybe 5 or 10 minutes early, as I explained, and we could have a short meeting. We probably don't need more than 15 minutes to review some of the things in the budget that might be done in the summer. Okay?
Any questions for me? That's the end of my short report. Okay. So yes, so we will now move into the items for action this evening, and I would ask Mrs. Ahmed to take personnel, please.
Surely. I'd like to move the following resignations, retirements, salary adjustments, reassignments, appointments, etc., as recommended by the superintendent of schools, pending approval from the State Department of Education, subject to the New Jersey criminal background check and other legal requirements.
Someone second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Jones. Continue.
1, Carolyn Griffiths, accept the retirement of Carolyn Griffiths, teacher assistant at Union School, with regret effective October 1st, 2016. 2, high school clubs, to approve the creation of a high school graduation coordinator for the 2015-16 school year, using funds from the yearbook business advisor stipend. 3, high school co-curricular, to approve the following co-curricular assignment for the 15-16 school year. David Frazier as high school graduation coordinator, and that's $1,163. What do I have here? Special thing. Oh, that's policy. 4, Nurhan Lisa Botes, to approve the unpaid leave under the Family Leave Act for Ms. Botes, effective March 24th, 2016 through April 8th, 2016. 5, travel reimbursements, to approve the reimbursements for Mr. Kelly as listed, and that's it.
Thank you. And so do I have a second for resolutions 1 through 5?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Chu. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Yes, Ms.
How is that yearbook business advisor stipend going to be transferred to the?
It's, we had discussed it actually at the last meeting we had changed that stipend. It was double that amount, and so we split it in half because the advisor's position has been greatly reduced due to the automated aspect of what the job is. I mean, her time is probably about a third. I mean, we're cutting it in half of what she had to do in the past. So this was a discussion that was had with the individual involved and with the REA, and all parties agreed that it was fair. And the graduation coordinator is a job that takes up a tremendous amount of time, and has been done never with the stipend involved for a long, long time. And one of the reasons why we never moved the stipend was because budgets being what they are and clubs being what they are, the way we usually create a new club is if one kind of expires because of lack of interest, we take that fund and we create a new club. So the opportunity was there, I think, to be fair to the coordinator. That position, though, was posted because before it was assigned, you know, everybody stepped back. It was for no reason, and the guys wasn't. So we posted it. Now there was a monetary involvement, and that's how it played out. Okay.
Further questions or comments on 1 through 5? Secretary, please call the roll.
Mrs. Ahmed?
Yes.
Mr. Arce?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanny?
Yes.
Mrs. Librera?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Mr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to curriculum and instruction, Mrs. Lanny, would you read the resolutions, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Number 1, resolution number 1, home instruction for the following student, 13659, effective March 29, 2016. Number 2, out-of-district placements, to approve the attached list of contracts for tuition and other services provided for out-of-district placements for the 2015-16 school year. Number 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all resolutions for harassment, intimidation, and bullying decisions. The first, number 3, is for student 2015-14. Number 4, resolution for 2015, number 15. Resolution number 5 for 2015-16, and resolution number 6 for the investigation 2015-17. Resolution number 7, the attached revised job description for athletic director / supervisor of physical education and health, number 1-150. Resolution number 8, also job description, which is a new job description for the behaviorist school psychologist, policy number 1-290.1. Resolution number 9, new job description for guidance director. Resolution number 10, new job description for special education teacher, ABA preschool. Resolution number 11, a new job description for special education teacher, multiple disabilities program. Resolution 12, new job description for supervisor of elementary education. Number 13, new job description for supervisor of language arts, literacy, fine, practical, and performing arts. Resolution 14, revised job description for supervisor of social studies and world languages. Number 15, resolution number 15, to approve the following new revised curriculum guides as listed.
Thank you. Do I have a second under curriculum and instruction? Mrs. Jones? Seconded resolutions 1 through 15. Are there any questions or comments regarding resolutions 1 through 15 under curriculum and instruction? There are none. The secretary call roll.
Mrs. Ahmed?
Yes.
Mr. Arce?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanny?
Yes.
Mrs. Librera?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Mr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to finance, I would ask Mrs. Librera to move the resolutions.
The first is the approval of bills totaling $1,700,066 $766,515.52. And the second is to accept with gratitude a grant in the amount of $1,000 from Aerojet Rocketdyne Foundation of Carlstadt, New Jersey, in support of the district's Bulldogs VEX IQ robotics program.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Mazon?
Yes.
And any questions or comments regarding the resolutions? There was, I will make just one comment because I think it's such a notable, in the bills, there is a payment to the pension plan of $399,000. And just to remind people what that payment is that is bestowed on us by the state, yes?
Yeah, that's the board's contribution for the, to the employees who are enrolled in the PERS program, which is the Public Employees Retirement System. Most of our employees are in the TPAF pension program, which is the Teachers Pension and Annuity Fund, and the state picks up the employer share of that. So this is the employer share for the non-certificated employees.
For what period does that represent?
That's for the year. That's an annual
Okay.
charge.
Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
Sure, Mrs. Ahmed?
Yes.
Mr. Arce?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanny?
Yes.
Mrs. Olbera?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Mr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you. On to policy. Mr. Chu, would you please move the resolutions?
Thank you. So in policy, we have a number of items in our documents. Number one, non-discrimination affirmative action. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to policy number 2224, non-discrimination affirmative action on first reading. Number two, non-discrimination affirmative action. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to policy number 411.1, non-discrimination affirmative action on first reading. Number three, non-discrimination affirmative action. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to policy number 4211.1, non-discrimination affirmative action on first reading. Number four, attendance. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to policy number 4151.2, attendance on first reading. Number five, photographs of pupils. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to policy number 5145.5, photographs of pupils on first reading. Resolution number 6, gender identity and expression. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following new policy number 5145.7, gender identity and expression on first reading. Moving on to resolution number 7, voting method. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to policy number 9325.4, voting method on first reading. Resolution number 8, school clearing following crisis situation. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following new regulation, number R6114, school clearing following crisis situation on first reading. And finally, resolution number 9, electronic homework posting guidelines. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the following revisions to regulation number R6154, electronic homework posting guidelines on first reading.
Thank you. Is there a second on resolutions 1 through 9 under policy?
Second.
Mr. Racine? Any question, discussion, comment regarding these? No? None heard. Secretary, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Ahmed?
Yes.
Mr. Arce?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanny?
Yes.
Mrs. Librera?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Mr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
We have no agenda items under building and grounds. Is there anything that need to discuss?
No,
Okay,
Mr.
we
President,
know-
no, not at this point, unless
Thank
Mr.
you.
Hurley.
And
something else to
under,
say, but
okay, any other points under old business or current business?
Just, if I could, just for clarity for folks who are still here and our viewing audience, that just to, policies would get read on 2 readings before they get enacted, so the policy revisions will get read again, and although they were voted tonight, they get voted a second time before they get adopted.
Before they're enacted. And practically all of tonight's policy resolutions are to align with statute and add
Some are just
required policies.
One word change, yeah.
Thank you.
They are posted online. On the agenda, if you go online, there's a link that takes you to the policies.
Like where it says first reading, right? Click on
You click on, I'm not sure where the link is, but there's a link, you click to it, and the way the policies are presented, so you know for sure. If it's a new policy, obviously, the whole thing is new. If it's a revision, there's a strike-through of what was previously there, and the word or phrase has changed. And as Mr. McLean said, many of the policies, for example, the photographs of pupils, the changes that was referenced to DIFUS. DIFUS is no longer the name for that, Child Protection Services. So that's the change. Yeah, so that's mandated. But if you go online, you see the link. If you have any issues with that, contact my office, but they're there. And if it's a new policy, it's in totally, as a new policy, revisions, there's strike-throughs with changes.
And new language is underlined.
Yeah, new language is underlined.
I'm just curious, sorry.
No, that's all right.
And in this round of policies, the new policies and the revisions are both in line with statute.
Yes. Yeah. Policy is something that's often dictated either by code, by statute, by court decisions. There's very few policies that there are some that school districts have, total or semi-total control over. Many of them are a variation of a theme that comes down from judiciary.
So, under any topic, old or new business, Mrs. Jones?
No, I'm sorry.
Legislative update?
Mrs. Lanny and I attended the Bergen County meeting on March 31st, that was last Thursday, and it was legislators from all parts of New Jersey. Gary Scher, who's the 36th District one, was not there, but Marlene Caride or Caridi? How's
Yeah,
her?
Caridi.
Was there. Unfortunately, she didn't get an opportunity to speak, but Mary might want to report on a couple of the other ones that were there.
Well, just briefly, I voted for the new board of directors, which includes Mrs. Jones, so I voted in the affirmative for that. In the name of our board. There was a Senator Gordon, who was there, and several assemblymen and women. And the districts who actually had a representative spoke about things that seem to be the real issues that most boards are dealing with. They asked the legislators to try to do something about school funding because of the excessive amounts of money in the special ed part of the budget. That was number one. And the other hot button topic was the pension. Funding the pension, find a way to do that. One of the assemblymen who got up said that his idea was to allow casino gambling here in the northern part of New Jersey, because then he could use that for further funding for schools and also for the transportation. And we know what happened to the last promise about casino.
That's how they sold Atlantic City, right?
Right, but
that's worked out well.
It seems like all the boards of the various districts in Bergen County are dealing with the same things that we have here. However, one thing that the president mentioned was the School Boards Association has a relationship with NASA, and NASA is offering many resources for STEM. So I don't know if we have acted on that connection, but it's there.
Okay.
Mrs. Lanny is our Bergen County rep, so I wanted her to.
And
you girls are moving up.
And they served a very nice meal.
That's good to hear. Keeping the priorities straight. That's good. So on this NASA question, do we have someone that could?
I'll just I'll start with the website. I'll talk to a few people.
Interesting. Thank you. Okay, it is 10:05, and we will open the floor to the public for comment on any issue. Yes. Please just your name and address, and then your comment.
Good evening. Sorry to keep you even later, but my name is Carol Shu. I'm at 153 West Newell Avenue, and I have three sort of random points, but it's any topic. First is I was hoping that the board might think about revising the website a bit to be a little more user-friendly. I'm inspired by the new Rutherford website, which I think is so much better, and it's easier to use. When I go to the current website, there's this quick links on the left side that takes up pretty much the whole page, and among those quick links are summer assignments, ASOP for employees, which I don't know what it's about, but what it does is so that if I click on something, some program I want to see, sometimes the change is at the very bottom of those quick links. And I didn't realize that before, and I said, I don't see the new information. And then someone told me I have to scroll down to see it on the left bottom. So it's just...
You have a couple of points, right? You said?
Yes.
So let me just answer that because, this way we can... one of the things I want to discuss, and I guess if she watches the video, she'll find out because I haven't mentioned it to her yet. But one of the things I want to discuss with our, our district-wide IT director is revising and reshaping the website a little bit. I share some of the concerns that you mentioned. It was changed a couple of years ago. I think there's some things that we could do. I have some other issues other than the ones you mentioned I'd like to look at. So in the summer, keep in mind that we right now have 2 network administrators who take care of all the computer system, every level, academic, administrative, every computer in the district. So the problem is finding the time for them to do it. But I want to start the discussion this summer to just see if we can play with it a little bit and maybe make it a little more user-friendly.
And I'm sorry, you mentioned a benchmark website that you felt was quite...
Oh, the new borough website?
The borough website,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And so my second point was about considering what world languages are taught in the district. I very well may be in the minority of wanting Mandarin, perhaps taught, especially in high school, but I kind of feel it's, it's growing in popularity everywhere to be taught, and I feel like there should maybe be a survey, or the board should explore it as a possibility, and maybe they'll want to stick with what they have, but I would like it if maybe the board would explore it to see if that would be something that's right for Rutherford. And then lastly, on world languages, I was here last year because I was not very happy with the way that world languages fell through for the younger grades. And I know that with the transition, things are going to get better. I'm not sure if it's the new teacher that's going to be hired is going to start at first grade or third grade, but
is that what your question is?
Yeah, that's
okay.
what.
Right now, and the reason why I say right now is because we have finished scheduling students in grades 7 to 12, and we now have numbers of where students are with Spanish, French in those grade levels, and we're going to look at staffing based on that. The plan still is, and I think it's going to be a doable plan, to have definitely in Pierpont grades 4 through 6, there'll be a certified world language teacher there who's doing all the instruction. Right now, we are 99.99% certain that we'll be able to have a certified Spanish teacher do 1 to 3, possibly even K to 3. That's how we're proceeding. We'll finalize that before April's out, but that's the plan.
Okay. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. And in the case of the 0.1% chance that that doesn't happen,
I'm not going to come to the meeting because you'll be here and you'll hold. No. There is an alternative. It's not a very good alternative, which is why we don't want to go that way. But that is to get a elementary certified teacher who is proficient in Spanish, and the state gives, and I'm not making this up, this is for real, a on-the-phone assessment. And although they're not certified, they're given I guess a certificate, not a teaching certificate, or a certificate that says they have mastered enough to provide the instruction at that level. That's not the road we want to go, and I don't think we'll have to go that road.
Okay.
But if we had to, that's what we would do.
Okay, so just, because that sounds better.
It's better than what we're doing, yes. There's no doubt about that, but it's not the ideal, and I'd rather get it.
A real
Yeah, I'd rather get the
full-time
teacher down.
teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And again, just for sake of that viewing audience, because we do rank very high on Tuesday nights, especially. This is not additional staff that we're hiring. This is due to the reorganization. We don't have teachers traveling in world language now between sometimes 3, sometimes 4 buildings. So that travel time that you had to build into their schedule allows for a period or more of instruction in their building. So that's way with existing staff, we can provide the coverage that we couldn't provide before.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. The suggestion, yes, one more? Yes?
Sorry.
No, I'm
It's going
glad
to be
you
a
won't.
long night for you
Yeah,
guys.
that's fine.
I just had 2 things I wanted
So
to bring up.
name and address, please.
Oh, sorry. I'm Dawn Avellano, and I live at 130 Mountain Way. I have 2 things that I wanted to ask you about. The first one is, and I've been thinking about it the whole time, is communication, which I'm a huge fan of. I love finding out what's going on with the Board of Ed. That's why I like coming here. And I know that you guys have been doing a better job communicating this year, and you're providing the video online now so we could watch this meeting live afterwards. But I was just thinking, I feel like you need like a PR person to make it even more user-friendly to the parents. So I get an email and it has the agenda on it, but it's like an agenda you have to click on to look at all of this other information. If you had, when you send the email, if you could at least put like maybe some bullet points, like I didn't know that Lincoln School presentation by Mr. Potter was even happening tonight. Granted, I didn't like investigate to see what was on the agenda ahead of time, but if I got the email and there was a couple of bullet points like, we're possibly thinking about switching aftercare programs, like if this happened like 2 months ago, I think you could have avoided the huge kind of outcry that happened tonight. I think a lot of that had to do with the not being communicated. So anyway, I just wanted to make that suggestion. Instead of just putting this, link within your email, maybe put like 2 or 3 bullet points of who's getting an award or the presentations at least. I understand you don't want to put all the resolutions. Anyway, that's my thought about the communication. The other thing I wanted to ask about was for the preschool that might be starting next year for special education, the students who are getting full day preschool special education right now, would that be the same next year in getting the full day? Because I know it's a half day for the typical
There's 2 different preschools. The one that we approved a while back, which is being referred to as the integrated preschool, because it's really a general ed class that has some special education who are mostly language delayed learners who are going to be infused in that class, similar to what all of our classes in K-12 have.
Gotcha.
Then there are currently, the second program that was approved, the full day program, is the ABA program, the Applied Behavior Analysis, for some autistic children, all of whom are currently the ones that are already identified, and we don't know about the new kids that are coming up, but the ones that are already identified are currently attending out of district full day. Those students, that would be strictly a special ed program, and those students, if they're in the program currently, should have been contacted by their case manager to talk about the new program. And as students manifest themselves, either they turn 3 or 4, the identification process that put them in that program out of district, if they qualify for this program, it would be this program would be here. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
I
that's...
think so,
yeah.
and it has been approved.
The board approved it last meeting. Tonight, we approved the job descriptions to now post positions for the teachers. The parents, I believe, have all been contacted, or will be. Their IEP meeting is scheduled, has happened, or is going to happen.
Gotcha. I think that's, in the process.
And we're sending up to the county, I'm sending up to the county this week, because I had to get a board resolution first, for the county to approve it as a new program. So, yes, it's approved, and it's in place, and we just have, we'll be hiring the staff in the next couple of weeks and finalizing the students' IEPs in the next couple of weeks.
Gotcha. And it will be full day?
The
for those
ABA
children?
program, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If they're currently in a full-day program or they qualified as a new student for that program, it would be offered here.
Okay, it would be the same.
And there's a different group of kids than the integrated preschool.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That, I think that's a good suggestion of at least putting the special presentations in the body of the email that goes out. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure who, I have to find out, I'll be honest with you, I have to find out who generates that. I think what goes out is a blast from our IT when something goes on the website, is just saying it's on the website. So I'd have to talk to them about the mechanism involved.
Yeah.
Because, if we post something on the web, you get a blast, hey, look on the web, here it is. So I'm not sure, and as was pointed out by some of my former students who, I didn't grow up in the computer age, I'm not sure how we, how we can put that message there, but I'll talk to them. I'll talk to them about that first before they get annoyed at me about changing the website. And I'll see if they could, could solve that problem.
Slow. Time to go home.
There is a Facebook. There's all these rogue Facebook pages, but I don't want my face on any book right now.
That's good. And just a little bit of an aside about the question about Mandarin. So, when did I come back? Saturday. Last week I was in France and Germany, and I'm with colleagues from India, from China, from France, from Germany, U.S. And, we, at dinner, we're talking about what children are doing in school and that sort of thing. And in Western Europe, English is like the #1 foreign language they're teaching to the children, but Mandarin is up there. So that's an interesting suggestion as well that we can look at. Okay, so we will close the meeting to public comment at 10:17. We do have need for an executive session this evening to discuss a student issue and briefing on the ongoing negotiations. No actions will be taken, and I think we actually have to be a little fast because we can't go past 11 o'clock by policy.
Good.
So do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Yes. Seconded? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're going to executive session.